Hello, everybody, and welcome to Module 1 of this course of AI for K through 12 educators. In this module, we're going to focus on AI foundations for educators, understanding what AI is, how it works, and why it matters for your classroom. Let me ask you something. When you hear artificial intelligence, what comes to mind? Maybe it's a robot from a movie, maybe it's the worry that a computer is coming for your job. Or maybe it's just a vague sense that something big is happening in technology and you're not sure how it affects your third period algebra class. All of those reactions are completely normal, and today we're going to cut through the noise and give you a clear and practical understanding of what AI actually is, and more importantly, what it means for you as an educator. In this module, we will learn about the definition of AI, machine learning, and large language models in plain language. We will identify three common myths about AI in education and why those myths are misleading. We will also articulate at least three ethical considerations for using artificial intelligence with K through 12 students. And finally, we will explain the difference between AI as a tool versus AI as a replacement. What AI actually is. The key point here is that AI language models predict the most likely next word based on patterns learned during training. They don't search the internet, they don't reason like humans do, and they also don't understand. This distinction matters because it tells us both what AI is good at and also where it falls short. Here's the simplest way to understand AI language models like ChatGPT, Claude, Copilot, and Gemini. They are sophisticated text prediction engines. Imagine the autocomplete on your phone, but trained on an enormous amount of text, including books, articles, websites, and academic papers. When you type a prompt, the AI is essentially predicting the most likely next word, then the next, based on patterns it learned during training. It's not thinking, it's not understanding in the way you and I understand. It is pattern matching at an extraordinary scale. And that distinction matters because it tells us both what AI is good at and where it falls short. Next, let's take a look at what AI does well and what it doesn't. It's important here to emphasize that AI's strengths are all pattern based tasks. Its weaknesses are all things requiring human judgment, context, and relationships. The analogy of a never tired teaching assistant captures both sides. Let's look at what AI does well and what it doesn't. AI is excellent at generating first drafts of written content, summarizing long texts, brainstorming ideas, reformatting information, translating between languages, and adapting text for different reading levels. These are all pattern based tasks. But AI struggles with factual accuracy on niche topics. It can and does make things up, something that researchers call hallucinations. It also cannot replace professional judgment about a student's needs. It doesn't know your students, your school culture, or the context behind a child's behavior. And it cannot reliably do math despite being able to explain mathematical concepts. Think of AI as an incredibly fast, never tired teaching assistant who is brilliant at language but has no common sense and no relationship with your students. AI hallucinations are one of the most important concepts for educators to understand. AI doesn't know it's wrong. It generates text that sounds right because it's predicting likely sounding words, not checking facts. This is why the step of validating the answer exists in every workflow we will teach. Now, let's tackle three myths I hear constantly from educators. Myth 1 is that AI is going to replace teachers. This is simply not true. AI can automate certain tasks that take up your time, such as writing parent emails, generating quiz questions, creating differentiated materials. But teaching is fundamentally a relational profession. AI cannot build trust with a struggling student, read the room during a lesson, or make the judgment call about when to push and when to give grace. What AI can do is give you back time so you can focus more on those irreplaceable human elements of teaching. Myth number two is that students will just use AI to cheat, so we should ban it. This is like saying we should ban calculators because students might use them on mathematical tests. The question is not whether students will use AI, they already are. The question is whether we teach them to use it well. We will cover student facing policies in Module 5, but for now, understand that our role is to teach students how to think with AI as a tool, not to pretend it doesn't exist. The third myth is that you need to be tech savvy to use AI. If you can write an email, you can use AI, and that is the simple and straightforward truth. The primary interface for AI is a text box. You type what you want in plain English, and it responds. The skill you will develop in this course is not technical, it's communicative. You will learn how to ask for what you need clearly and specifically. That is a skill every teacher already has. Before we start using AI tools, we need to address the ethical territory. There are four areas every K through 12 educator must think about. First, student data privacy. Never enter student names, identifying information, IEP details, or personal data into any AI tool unless your district has a specific approved data processing agreement with that provider. We will use anonymized examples throughout this course. Second, bias. AI models reflect the biases present in their training data. This means they can perpetuate stereotypes, underrepresent certain cultures, and default to Eurocentric perspectives. You need to review and edit everything AI generates through your professional lens. Third, transparency. If you use AI to help create materials, you should be open about it with colleagues and age appropriately with students. These models, the honest, responsible use we want them to practice. And lastly and fourth, equity. Not all students and families have equal access to AI tools. Any classroom implementation must account for this digital divide. Out of the four areas that we discussed in the ethical realm of AI, the most important and number one non negotiable rule is student data privacy. Never enter student names, identifying information, IEP details, or personal data into any AI tool unless your district has a specific approved data agreement. For example, instead of writing, Johnny Martinez in my fourth grade class has an IEP for SLD and his reading scores are, you want to keep that information anonymized by using the following prompt. A fourth grade student with a specific learning disability in reading who currently reads at a second grade level, and so on and so forth. This is the best practice for using AI when it comes to student data. The core message of this entire course is that AI is a tool, but not a replacement for educators. AI handles the labor intensive production work. Tasks such as drafting parent emails, generating quiz questions, formatting reports and rubrics, or brainstorming lesson ideas. Teachers, on the other hand, handle everything that requires judgment, relationships, and context, things that cannot and will not be replaced by AI. For example, building student relationships, making professional judgment calls, understanding student context, and choosing instructional priorities. Every minute saved on paperwork is a minute you can spend on a student. Now let's take a look ahead at our learning journey for this course and what is coming in the next four modules. In Module 2, you will learn about the prompting skill that powers everything else, the art of prompting, including the roles framework for classroom ready results. In Modules 3 and 4, You will apply it to your daily work through AI powered lesson design and streamlining admin and communication. Finally, in Module 5, you will tie it all together with policies and a sustainable system to create your perfect AI classroom. Here's what I want you to take away from this lesson. AI is a powerful tool with real limitations. It's not magic, it is not sentient, and it's not going anywhere. Your job is not to become a tech expert. Instead, it is to become a thoughtful and informed educator who knows how to leverage this tool for your students' benefit. In the next lesson, we'll get hands on with your first AI tool. But first, go ahead and complete the quiz and workbook exercise for this module. They are designed to solidify these concepts and prepare you for what's coming. For every module, once you are done with the video presentation and the lecture, you will complete 10 questions in quiz format to check your understanding. Then, you should do the workbook exercises, 3 hands-on exercises, including your first AI tool, to put in practice the concepts and skills learned. Lastly, I invite you to explore one of the many AI tools that you will be using and you can incorporate into your AI classroom, such as Claude at claude.ai or ChatGPT at chatgpt.com for free. Good luck.